Yeah, do you want to just start by saying your name and spelling it for us, please?
Okay.
You could just like speak in general. Yeah.
My name is Doug Couchon, PhD, and it's D-O-U-G, first name, second name is C-O-U-C-H-O-N.
Okay, and your job title? Or your...
I'm retired.
Okay, your relation to this, yeah.
Yes, I'm a founding member of People for Healthy Environment in the Chemung County Alliance.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Thanks for coming here to be part of the press conference. I want to welcome my friends and colleagues and all the listeners as well out there. I'm Doug Couchon, and I am a co-founder of People for a Healthy Environment and Chemung County Alliance, concerned citizen groups related to Chemung County landfill issues, as well as anything that comes from fracking. We're here today because we haven't heard from our legislators in the county. We've been talking with them since January at their meetings and providing commentary to them, and I think we need to hear from them at this point. They need to stop putting the onus on the DEC for making the decision, and instead of deferring to the DEC to make their own decision, because they have the power of decision, it's not the DEC's decision. It's the power of decision for the county legislature to decide whether or not the tonnage increase goes through. So the county has proposed an increase in waste tonnage at the dump, moving from 180,000 tons per year to 360-some thousand tons per year. It's over a 130% increase, with the intention of taking more radioactive drill cuttings from the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania. Residents of Chemung County do not want that stuff here. I've heard that some people think that what's the big deal, it's only dirt. Well, soil. Soil is that nice, enriched, beautiful stuff that grows green things that we might be able to eat and play around. But the things that come from a mile down in the Marcellus Shale and other rock layers, that's not soil. It's pulverized rock infused with heavy metals and other chemicals that are toxic to us, including byproducts of radium. So it's radioactive, much of it is. So when it comes up here, it spreads in the environment, and there's no way to keep it in a landfill. That we don't want to be our legacy. Now, I have brought to you today a new map of New York State. This is the central New York region. And this map was created by Sane Energy Project, a nonprofit group downstate, and along with a couple of hundred concerned citizens in upstate. And the one I want to focus on right here is this dot. That is the Chemung County landfill. That's where the radioactive drill cuttings are coming. And then they go up here to the county wastewater treatment facilities in Elmira. And These facilities do not have the capacity to treat for fracking chemicals or radioactivity. But what happens to the fluid that comes from the dump, it goes from the waste treatment facilities right into the Chemung River, where thousands of Elmirans and people downstream get their drinking water. This isn't right, and it needs to stop, and we aim to stop it. Do you have some questions?
Yes, who created this map and what were the criteria for pinpointing some of the different locations on the map?
Well, the map was created by Sane Energy Project. They have the technical wherewithal to do that with input and assistance from upstate citizens. And so where does it come from? Well, here we have the holding point at Horseheads that houses Schlumberger and the host terminal, which is a sand, a silica sand transfer station. And so those exist, and we know where they are and what they do, but not a lot of people know exactly what they do. So all these dots on the map here, they're connected, but people don't understand that. Everything's connected in one toxic web. This is massive industrialization that's come to facilitate fracking. And although we don't have fracking yet, the horizontal kind in New York State, we have a massive build-out going on of infrastructure that will facilitate fracking. And people need to be aware of that, and that's the purpose for this map, that's the purpose for presenting it. This map is available on Facebook and Twitter, online, and it's interactive at www.saneenergyproject.org. You can find the map at that site and play with it. You click on a dot and a text box will come up and let you know what's going on in that area that isn't so good for you. So Chemung County is on the map, and we don't think that we want Chemung County on the map in this way. We need to take it off the map. So tonight, these folks are behind me, and the ones who will join us shortly are going to state a list of their demands to the Chemung County Legislature to accept no frack waste from anywhere in the landfill or anywhere else in Chemung County, and to say no to the landfill expansion. And there will be others as well. So those are the main ones in my mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think legislators have been so silent on this issue?
Well, the county administration wants fracking to occur. It wants to accept drill cuttings and enable Casalla to do that, because Casalla is willing to provide the county with income in exchange. So what we have really is the county administration allowing toxic industrialization to occur in exchange, which is long-term, by the way, in exchange for short-term income. And that's not right, and we do not want that.
Now, you mentioned that they're bringing radioactive materials into our landfill. And how do you know, I know we spoke about this on the phone, but how do you know that it's radioactive? What proves that?
Well, there have been tests done, even by Casalla's own through testing contracts with Casalla through outside agencies. And what it shows is that the measurement of radioactivity in the fluids in the dump, which is called leachate, is going up over time, over these last 2.5 years. In fact, last measured it was around 14 picocuries per liter. 5 picocuries per liter is the DEC's, that's the Department of Environmental Conservation here in New York State. is their standard limit for drinking water, for radioactivity in drinking water. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't drink any water with 5 picocuries per liter of radiation in it, let alone 14 picocuries per liter. So when the leachate is trucked, which it is up to the county's wastewater treatment facilities in Elmira, is treated for the usual stuff that water treatment facilities do to clean up the water, get it ready for recycling. But it can't do that with radiation. It can't do that with other kinds of fracking chemicals either. And so that all gets discharged into the Chemung River, and people drink through the Chemung River, from the Chemung River. We get our water from the Chemung River. So I think that kind of is a nutshell of the major problem.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
I would like to put a plug in for people out there to go to Solutions for Sustainability this Saturday. It's about the other side of the fight against fracking and fracking infrastructure. It's about renewables, and Maud Barlow will kick it off. She's a world-renowned expert in water issues, and there will be other fine speakers there. I encourage everybody to go. I need a bug in the ear as to where it is.
Where is it? At the First Methodist Church in Corning, located right on the corner of First and Cedar Street in Corning. And it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd love to see you all there.
Okay, so I think that's it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Before you begin, could you say and spell your name for me and also give your title?
Okay. My name is Rachel Treichler. That's RACHEL-TREICHLER. And I'm an attorney working with local citizens groups on a number of issues that have been presented by the Marcellus Shale.
You can give your statement off.
Okay. My name is Rachel Treichler. I live in the upper reaches of the Chemung River watershed in Steuben County. I've been asked to speak today about problems and impacts of fracking waste in New York landfills. Even though hydrofracking in the Marcellus and Utica shales has not been allowed in New York to date, the DEC is allowing waste from shale gas drilling in Pennsylvania to come into New York landfills. At least 3 landfills in this region are taking gas drilling waste from Pennsylvania, and these landfills are shown on this map. We have the Chemung landfill here in Chemung County, the Hakes Construction and Demolition landfill in the town of Campbell in Steuben County, and the Highland Municipal Solid Waste landfill in the town of Angelica in Allegheny County. Each of these landfills is operated by Casalla Waste Systems, and the Hakes and Highland landfills are also owned by Casalla. So how much fracking waste are these landfills taking? Their reports to the DEC show that each of these landfills has taken over 100,000 tons of drill cuttings over the last 5 to 7 years. Chemung County reached a maximum of tonnage of drill cuttings in 2011 when it took almost 60,000 tons that year from Pennsylvania. These amounts do not include tens of thousands of tons of drill cuttings that are used as daily cover on the landfill or other types of gas drilling wastes. So the question, and this question was asked earlier, is this waste radioactive? The DEC has repeatedly refused to consider radioactivity concerns with shale gas drilling waste, even though it is well known that the black shales that underlie New York and Pennsylvania contain uranium, radium, radon, thorium, and other radioactive elements in concentrations above natural background levels. These radioactive elements can be dispersed as airborne gases or become dissolved in water. Human exposure to radioactive materials leads to developmental problems, neurological disorders, and cancer. It is odd that the DEC fails to apply New York's low-level radioactive waste laws to shale gas drilling wastes. These laws ban radioactive material from New York's municipal and construction and demolition landfills. The reason that the DEC has failed to apply New York's low-level radioactive waste laws to shale gas drilling waste is because they claim that this waste falls within an exemption from those laws for processed and concentrated, well, for radioactive material that is not processed and concentrated. If it was to be determined to be processed and concentrated, then it would have to be disposed in a low-level radioactive waste landfill, and every load would have to be tracked and monitored. And we don't have any low-level radioactive waste landfills in New York. In fact, if you remember 25 years ago, the citizens of Allegheny County protested plans to build a low-level radioactive waste landfill in their county. And they were successful in that. Both the EPA and the Pennsylvania DEP have recognized that shale gas drilling wastes are technically enhanced. That's the term of art under the federal and Pennsylvania statutes. And it would seem to be the same standard should apply to processed and concentrated under New York law. The DEC's own data shows that extremely high levels of gross alpha and gross beta are in produced brine from the vertical Marcellus wells in New York. Appendix 13 of the S-Guise shows gross alpha and beta levels in produced brine from wells drilled in Schuyler County and Steuben County that are as high as 123,000 picocuries per liter. This is more than 8,000 times the EPA permitted levels of gross alpha and beta in drinking water supplies. Although rock cuttings have not been measured with such high levels, drill cuttings are typically wet with brine when they arrive in New York. In 2012, a load of drill cuttings from Pennsylvania was measured at the Allied landfill in Erie County and found to be as high as 250 picocuries per gram. Similarly, loads of landfill cuttings, loads of drill cuttings have set off radiation alarms at thousands of times at landfills in Pennsylvania. Many of us are concerned about the radium and radon levels in shale drilling waste, but I just learned about a new radiation concern with the waste. And this is from the testimony of Professor Ralph Seiler at the University of Nevada when he testified to the New York State Assembly in May 2014, this year. And he talked about these very high levels of alpha and beta that are reported in Appendix 13 of the S-Guise. And he points out that these levels are actually, the gross alpha and gross beta levels are higher than the levels measured for the individual elements that were tested, which was radium, uranium, and thorium. So he asks, why is this happening? Why is the gross level higher? And he says it could be because somehow the very high salinity of the brine is somehow affecting the measurement, or there could be an element that is emitting alpha radiation that wasn't tested for. And he points out that the one element that was not tested for is polonium-210. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with polonium-210, but it is a highly radioactive element. 1 milligram of polonium-210 emits as many alpha particles per second as 5 grams of radium-226. So it's a very, very high alpha emitter. And also, in terms of gross beta, lead 210 is a beta emitter, and that wasn't tested for either. And lead 2010 breaks down into polonium 210. So there needs to be testing for both of these elements in the shale gas drilling waste. So the next question is, can radioactivity from the waste going into our landfills get into our drinking water? And what would the steps be that could happen? So first of all, we look at whether there have been testing of the leachate produced by the landfill to show whether there is radioactivity in the leachate. The leachate is what comes, forms at the bottom of the landfill from the rain and other, forms of precipitation that fall on the landfill and leach through the landfill and dissolve different elements that are soluble in water. And radium is one of the elements that is soluble in water, and polonium also is soluble in a slightly acidic solution. Because the Marcellus Shale also has pyrite, the pyrite in the shale, the pyrite in the drill cuttings, when mixed with water and oxygen, forms a very acidic solution called acid mine drainage. That's what they have a lot of in Pennsylvania. So there certainly is acid present in the leachate that could cause polonium, that could dissolve polonium. So, as you know, in 2010, the Residents for the Preservation of Lowman and Chemung challenged the disposal of large volumes of drill cuttings in the Chemung County landfill in a DEC administrative proceeding. The decision of the DEC commissioner in that proceeding dismissed the residents' challenge, saying that the radioactivity of the waste was not an issue in the proceeding. They didn't even address that issue in the decision. But the commissioner did direct the DEC staff to determine whether releases of radioactivity from the drilling waste could occur in the future. And so as a result of this decision, the Chemung County landfill was given certain permit conditions that are not contained in any other landfill permit in New York. And one of those conditions was a requirement that the landfill leachate be tested for radioactivity twice annually. So keep in mind that no other landfill has its leachate tested for radioactivity. And also, the Chemung landfill only began that testing in 2012. So now we have four stages of testing every half year. And what those tests show is that the leachate is gradually getting more radioactive. So this is a very significant fact, even though the amount is not incredibly high. I think, as Doug said, at 14 picocuries per liter, right at the last testing, the fact that this entire landfill, with all the waste that it contains, that the leachate from that entire landfill is creeping up by this amount in just a couple of years, shows that the landfill is taking something that is highly radioactive. So these results have also been shown by some other testing that has been done of the discharges from wastewater treatment plants. As Doug also mentioned, the landfills are sending their leachate to wastewater treatment plants to be treated. As I previously mentioned, if this had been determined to be radioactive, the leachate would have to be sent to a low-level radioactive waste treatment plant, but it hasn't been, and so the DEC has allowed municipal wastewater treatment plants to take the waste. Chemung County is sending their leachate to the Chemung County wastewater treatment plant in Elmira, and the Hakes landfill is sending all their leachate to the Steuben County leachate pretreatment plant in Bath, which then sends their discharge to the Village of Bath wastewater treatment plant, which discharges into the Chemung River. And the Highland landfill in Allegheny County sends half its leachate to Bath to go through that same process as the Hakes leachate, and half of its leachate to the Wellsville wastewater treatment plant. None of these treatment plants are equipped to treat radioactive waste. So if radioactivity comes into those plants, it goes out. And it goes out, in the case of Bath, it goes into the Cohocton River, which is part of the Chemung River watershed. Wellsville goes into the Genesee River. So even though the Chemung County plant is downriver of where the Elmira Water Board water intake structures are, so you probably, if you're a citizen of Elmira, you're not drinking the leachate from the Chemung County landfill, but the people downriver are, the other communities downriver. But people in Elmira are drinking the leachate that's coming out of the Bath wastewater treatment plant and whatever radioactivity is in that. A citizens group in Allegheny County has been testing from the Wellsville, upstream and downstream of the Wellsville wastewater treatment plant, and they have tested those samples for radioactivity and found that there is a significant increase in radioactivity downstream from the plant. And they have also tested leaks from the Highland landfill in Allegheny County, because there have been over 200 reports of leaks, seeps, and breakouts at the Highland landfill. That's where the leachate is just going into the adjoining area. And they found their testing of the off-site runoff of the Highland landfill was that exceeded 9 picocuries per liter. Another source of, another way that radioactivity from the landfills gets into our environment is the sludge from these wastewater treatment plants is land spread. In Steuben County, we have Dixon's Environmental Services. They're the largest land spreading operation in New York, and they have a permit from the DEC to spread the biosolids from 28 wastewater treatment plants, 6 of those from Pennsylvania communities. These are Pennsylvania communities which are, some of them are also taking drilling waste in their wastewater treatment plants, and also from New York communities, including the village of Bath. So we know that the Pennsylvania DEP began an extensive study of landfill leachate in Pennsylvania and other measuring the radioactivity that is contained in the landfill leachate and in a number of other forms of shale gas drilling waste. That study was due to be completed in August of this year, but it has not yet been released. I spoke today with someone from the Delaware Riverkeeper, and I understand that they are not expecting it to be released until after Election Day. So it sounds like another situation similar to what we have been experiencing in New York with some of the reports and things from our DEC. So there's still a lot to be learned about radioactivity in shale gas drilling waste, and I greatly applaud the members of People for a Healthy Environment and residents for the preservation of Lowman and Chemung for all that they have done to bring this issue to the attention of the Chemung County Legislature and to the citizens of Chemung County. And I also applaud the legislature for holding off on this process and waiting until there is more information to and making sure that it is safe before they allow this expansion of the landfill. Thank you. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have one question. Why do you think the testing specifically excluded those 2 isotopes of polonium and lead?
Well, according to what Professor Seiler said, it's actually quite expensive to test for those. So it's difficult and expensive, but, you know, they should have tested for it anyway, I think. Yeah, and it's hard to test for radioactivity. That's one thing with the gamma meters that are located at the Chemung landfill are testing for gamma radiation, which is much easier to test for than alpha and beta. And so that's, that is a practical reason perhaps why it has been harder for the landfills to track alpha and beta.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that hasn't been either spoken right now or earlier?
Well, I agree with Doug that this conference coming up this weekend, Solutions for Sustainability, is, it presents the right sort of options that we should be considering for development, not expanding fracking waste, but doing clean, sustainable energy sources and protecting our water.
You good? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody, come and gather around, have some seats, stand up, whatever's your pleasure. But let's try to get into a close-knit area. Welcome to Elmira and Chemung County and to this rally. I just wanted to mention to you that one or two of the stations were talking to some of the legislators earlier today, and their response when presented with the press alert that went out is that it's only soil. And Ruth has a question. Well, if it's only soil and so benign, why are they spending all that money trucking it up here to Chemung County?
Amen.
Is it soil?
No.
What it is crushed rock from a mile or so down that is infused with toxic chemicals and heavy metals, including radioactive substances. And we don't need that here in Chemung County, do we?
No.
Pennsylvania.
Nobody needs
Send it back, I agree. So, what is the purpose of this map here? This is my presentation to you today. Most of us are aware that there are plenty of an assortment of different kind of infrastructure projects related to fracking going on in the state of New York. Most people see them as one over here, one over there, one down here, one up here. But really they're connected in one toxic web. And this map is going to be used as a tool for us to show our friends, our family members, our communities, just what is happening in our backyards in our state related to the fracking industry. Our state is building out an infrastructure to support the fracking industry and to facilitate fracking of gases from shale. Are we going to tolerate that?
No.
Well, you're darn right we're not going to tolerate that. So, here's the map. You can find yourself on it. If you're from Chemung County, there's 4 buttons that you could push. And in fact, when you go to the live map on www.saneenergyproject.org, you can push that button or any other buttons in the state, and a box will come up explaining why this awful project is so awful indeed. And that is an educational tool, not necessarily for us, but also for us, but mainly for the people who really haven't connected the dots yet. Aren't those the people we want to get behind us?
Yes.
So let's get them behind us and use this tool. You can send it via Facebook. You can like it, put it on your timeline, send it to all your friends. It's on Twitter if you have a Twitter account. You can get people to follow you on the map or follow others. And use email if you're a standard email user. Send the websites and leaks to other people. So that they can actually see, it's amazing when people see the dots connected, the aha moments that can occur from that. So this is a tool for you to use in making sure that our world, each of us has a little different world, right, of people in our lives. Some of them are close in, circled, but then ever widening, overlapping circles in our lives. And then if you put all of us together, we have those close in and ever farther outreaching circles overlapping and meta-overlapping. So this is how education occurs. And that's the point of the map. Chemung County wants to deny that they're in the business of allowing toxic frack waste into our communities. Just soil. Now that's a byline, but we're not buying it, are we?
No.
It is for the purpose of mollifying a public who might not want to hear the truth, because the truth hurts. This map is going to help people connect the dots in a way that will enable them to get to the truth. And then if it hurts, I think that's a good thing, because that's how I got started. Is Susan here? This woman over here asked me out for a bite to eat, told me all about fracking, and that was it for me. I was never an activist before that. That was 5 years ago. I credit her to get me involved in this stuff. So this map will allow you to get other people's involved. And there are some of those people that you're not just going to send it to once because you know they have potential. You know the type of friends and colleagues that have potential. Keep after them. Now this map is a baby map. It just has some of the primary ones or offenses that we know on it. But it's going to grow a lot larger. There'll be a lot more dots and buttons to push on the interactive map. That'll tell a more full story. So this has been done under our nose, and we're no longer sleeping, and we need to wake up those who still do prefer to sleep. And that's my presentation. Now let me give you some nuts and bolts about the rest of the afternoon and evening. We're going to walk from here on the sidewalk down to the down to Market Street, which is adjacent to the building we're going to go upstairs into for the legislature meeting. There are 3 streets we're going to cross. I think it's Second right out here, then there's Church, and then there's Gray. So be careful. I sent a very late notice out to people asking for volunteers to be crossing guards. If you have that interest, you're welcome to, and if you decide to do that, be first in the group as they move down. The purpose would be to step out into the street, yay, and stop traffic, and let it go again when the group has passed. So I may be back here talking to WENY while you're doing that, so I'll catch up with you. Save me a seat if you get in there. But so speaking of that, so be safe. Walking down is just a 2.5 block walk. Now when we're out there, we're going to be adjacent to and across the street from the parking lot used by our county legislators as they come into work. Some of them start arriving early, like 6:25, 6:30, so we want to be out of here at 6:15 and moving down. Show them our signs, let them know we're there. They already know that we have something planned, but how many of you are going to speak tonight? A few, and I'll bet you others probably will. So let the Spirit move you, and they're going to keep hearing from us. Yes?
How long is the speaking period allowed? Like how long do you each person?
Well, I suppose that could change any time, but we've each been given 5 minutes. I've spoken 5 times, I think, and I've only used the 5 minutes once. Other people get cut off after 5 minutes. Try to be concise. The message gets across better that way. And so, yeah, if there are a lot of us speaking, and there's another issue that may get speakers tonight as well. If there's a lot of us, the meeting can draw on for an hour or two, so let's be prepared. So, when we're out there on the sidewalks, at some point when I return, probably at about 6:30 or a little after, I'm going to ask the people who know that they're going to speak to get up and move through security and up into the legislative chambers. Along with that would be people who are having mobility issues who need to get a head start. Then residents of Chemung County will be asked to go up, and then everyone else. Eddie's going to go up first because he's going to set up his camera. And there's more than enough room for this size crowd, so everybody's going to be able to get in. I just want to get the speakers seated first. So that's it, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to Rachel, and where's Rachel? Okay.
Well, was I supposed to say something different than?
No, but if you want to give a couple of bullet points that are different, more ad lib coming from you, you're welcome to, or I can go on to the next. You want to skip?
I guess I'll skip, yeah.
That's fine, because I do think everybody heard you.
Hey, Doug?
Yes?
We got handouts over here.
All right. Announcement, there are handouts over there that are free to take on your way out, or if you want to get up at some point and grab them. Betty, do you want to remind me of something? Oh, there's more back there too, she's saying. Okay. All right, then who is going to be next? Pat? Yeah, come on up. Pat's going to talk to us about what's happening in other parts of the state about banning the practice of accepting frack waste from Pennsylvania in landfills and other places. Pat Ladley.
When I was listening before to Doug, I was reminded of that saying, which I'm sure you all know, that you know, if you think you're too small to make a difference, you know, get in bed with a mosquito. So that's us, you know. We can make a big difference. We can make a lot of noise and have a bite too, I think. So all I'm going to do is share a little bit with you of what I'm going to share at the legislature's meeting. We're not alone, actually, and that's the basic point here. There are a lot of people out there who are working on the same concern. So, for example, in New York State alone, 14 counties have now banned the acceptance and or use of drilling waste. And I'm going to read you these counties so you know what they are. They are Albany, Rockland, Putnam, Westchester, Orange, Ulster, Oneida, Tompkins, Nassau, Suffolk, Erie, Onondaga, Schoharie, and Clinton. So, it's a good list. It's a good list. We would like Chemung County to be on that list, and that's what we're about here. So that's just in New York State. Some of these bans have been in effect for a while, others are a little bit more recent. In December of 12, Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino, who you may know is running for office here in the state of New York, he signed a ban on drilling waste, which had been unanimously approved by a bipartisan vote of the county legislature. And then just 2 months ago, Clinton County enacted what has been called the most rigorous ban in the state of New York. So there are other places, Michigan, West Virginia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and so forth. You'll hear all that when we are at the legislature. But just to know that you're not alone, that there are a lot of people working on this, and let's go and do it. Be that mosquito.
Westchester County because he was compelled to, because it was a unanimous decision by the legislature there, and he didn't want to be embarrassed apparently with an override. But he has also come out in favor of fracking and get the job done, so we mustn't be unaware of that.
My opinion, because I'm not sure there are too many people that have the truth about that, is that he got himself into a corner, he felt cornered, and he went along with it, and now he is getting embarrassed. And we should continue to embarrass him. Maura just reminded me that there's an easier way to the map that relates more to this. This is the name of the mapping project. You are here. And it's a com, right? Maura.org? Or
You are here, nymap.org.
You are here, nymap.org. So,
And people are also invited to take pictures of themselves at the sites and send them in. And to report new things that they hear about.
that's right, selfies or otheries.
You can take a picture of all of us with You Are Here. That'll go on the You Are Here map site.
The 4 locations that are on the map were identified in photography by several of us who went to those locations, held this up, and got our pictures taken in front of Host Terminal, in front of the entire project up at Horseheads, what used to be called the holding point. It's a beautiful photograph to start. It has a playground and baseball diamond in the background. We're standing under a children's slide. And then you see the chemical tanks in the far background. It's amazing. So this is in the photography too, and you can find those photos.
Can I ask a question?
You may ask a question.
I'm wondering if anyone here knows if there's a process to impeach legislators on grounds of mendicancy, on purpose, misleading the public
I don't
through
know.
lies.
Frank, is there any provision on that?
New York does not have provisions for impeachment, but many states do, and it's something that would be good to get legislation at the county level and the state level to be able to do that.
Especially when we see legislators who are acting on projects where perhaps there is a conflict of interest.
Well, there are conflict of interest rules, and those should be enforced, and citizens should challenge.
We have 15 minutes left and one more presenter.
I got one more answer to that question.
Okay.
In Chemung County, the Chemung County Charter has a provision that if the legislature is not happy with the county executive, they can ask the governor to remove him.
And we can appeal to the Attorney General of the State of New York to investigate these allegations that have evidence of malfeasance on the part of the legislators. It's not likely to succeed, but the mechanism is there. You have to pretty much have a preponderance of evidence.
Betty's going to come up and present the demand statement. That will be presented again by Colleen Boland at the meeting tonight. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Betty Eck. I know some of you, now the legislators all know me, for better or for worse. I've lived in Chemung County for 40 years. I'm born and bred New Englander, and don't let this leave the room, but I'm still a Red Sox fan. But it's a great place to live. It's a beautiful place to live. But there's some things that I don't think we can be real happy about. For example, a lot of people don't know that there are 62 counties in New York. In terms of the most important health measures, Chemung County ranks number 60. That's at the bottom, not at the top.
Yeah.
There are only 2 counties below us, Sullivan County and the Bronx. Now, the big question is, why on earth would we want to introduce any additional risks, health risks? Why would we do that? Okay. I hope everyone is coming to the legislature meeting. We have had a presence there since January, okay? There's been over 100 presentations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one night the public comment period went about 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, so. It's a good thing that after that, the legislators take about 10 minutes to do their business, but. Anyway, the 100 presentations and hundreds of pages of written documents make a point. And the point they make is that we are a force to be reckoned with, and we're not going away anytime soon. So what we have here is a list of very strong demands that we're asking, actually demanding maybe, the legislature to carry out soon, okay? And I'm going to read them, there's 5 of them. They must reject the current proposal and any future proposals for expansion of the Chemung County landfill.
Here, here.
They must mandate that Chemung County cease and desist from accepting drilling waste of any kind from any source.
Yeah.
They must mandate that any shale gas drilling waste currently deposited in the Chemung County landfill be removed. We need to decrease the size of the landfill by restricting its use for waste generated in Chemung County, rather than continue the practice of accepting huge volumes of waste from downstate and other areas. Some people may not be aware that only about 20% of what's in the landfill is generated in Chemung County, and much of it is sent elsewhere, but there's room for Pennsylvania's stuff. Okay, and the final point is that the county must do as other counties have done, other parts of the country, institute an aggressive reduce, reuse, and recycle program to decrease the amount of waste annually deposited in the Chemung County landfill. That's what we want.
Well, we don't have long before it's time to get up and move down the street. But you have a question?
Actually, I had something to add, if I may.
Sure. Do you want to come up and speak?
I can speak from here. I'm plenty
Okay.
loud enough for everyone. I just wanted to add, apropos of this map and the build-out of gas infrastructure, something that a lot of people are not aware of is that although the fracking for gas has been touted as a means to make the United States more energy independent, nationally, and has been touted locally as a means to make energy for us cheaper.
Yeah.
Something that is never revealed, which is known worldwide, and if you listen to the BBC on live stream BBC News, you know everyone else in the world knows it. This fracked gas is immediately counted internationally as going into the pool of available gas, and that a lot of this build out of infrastructure is for the purpose of being exported. And we have already experienced, if you've heard recently, the approval of at least one port on the East Coast that had been for the import of LNG, liquefied natural gas, has now been approved legislatively to be converted for export. And so all of these effects of fracking upon our health is not solely for some patriotic reason of making our country independent. It is simply for enriching the gas companies and making it available for export so they can make money at the expense of our health.
Right.
Well said. Anything else you want to add? Anyone?
One more question, and
Mary.
maybe Rachel can answer this. Say there is a leak in the liner someday and the aquifer gets contaminated. Could the legislators be sued?
They could be, and I understand that in Yates County, the Yates County legislature was sued in the past for failing to properly operate a landfill in Yates County. So there is liability. They are responsible for how this landfill is operated.
Okay, it's time to get up and move. On the way out, the media may want to grab one or two people and get some community input. Please accommodate if you can.